This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Prime.
Welcome to the Realty Debate. In the past 10 months, the industry has gone through many upheavals. First was the shock of demonetization. Then came Real Estate Regulation and Development Act, or as the customers fondly call it, RERA. And then came the much publicized and hailed as the tax reform of the century, GST. Well, it has not been easy. The sales and launch numbers in reports released by various property consultants are becoming smaller and the graphs are dipping further. With all this confusion surrounding him, the buyer is left wondering, is it the right time to buy his dream home? To discuss this, we have some eminent guests joining us in this debate. We are joined by J.C. Sharma, VC and MD, Shobha Limited. Also with us is Joe Verghese. He is Managing Director, Colliers International India. We also have with us Ankur Dhawan, Chief Investment Officer, Real Estate Investment Fund, PropTiger.com. And with us is Pankaj Bajaj, MD, Eldeco Infrastructure and Properties. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. But before we begin this discussion, let's take a look at what a recent report released by Knight Frank India says about residential market. Launches have crashed by 41% in 8 leading residential markets. This is lowest in 7 years. Sales are down by 11% year on year. In fact, these are lowest first half sales in the past 5 years. Barring Chennai, new projects have completely dried up in all the 8 cities. NCR and Ahmedabad were worst hit with launches plummeting by 73% and 79% respectively. As always, the only good news is there in the affordable segment. First half of 2017 saw affordable housing define trends across India with a jump to 71% of the launches under the 50 lakh price segment. This is up from 52% during the same period last year. Now, let's begin this entire debate. Joe, I want to start with you. We are looking at the numbers. It seems that launches are going down specifically. Now, 41% is a huge number. Is RERA the only reason, or there are other reasons for it?
Thank you very much. The primary reason is actually RERA. Developers are going through the process of understanding what is the implication of RERA, and that's a good thing because they want to be ensuring that their projects are RERA compliant when they come with the launch. So a lot of launches have actually got delayed and are kept in the pipeline. In fact, even ongoing projects are being made RERA compliant. So there's a big amount of overall going in the developers' offices right now as they get more RERA compliant. So that has caused a lot of these launches to get delayed. That is the primary reason. Added to that, the complication of GST and understanding the implication of GST on sales as they start happening. That has also added a further complication and delayed some of these launches. So these two are the main contributing factors to the reduced number of launches.
Okay. So, Ankur, do you feel if the launches are going down and sales are also going down, actually that's a bigger factor. So we would expect that developers are feeling a little stressed. So can we expect that the home buyers might get some good news as far as prices are concerned?
See, as far as prices are concerned, I think we have already seen prices not increasing for at least last 2.5 years. If you look at the price trend, most of them are I think as straight lines or maybe going down lines. So given that, I don't see developers can reduce the price going forward, especially given the RERA is going to put a lot more requirement in terms of the compliance, in terms of the funding, because they have to first construct and then only they can take out from the special account which is going to be created for project. Also, given that recently we heard that there will be a lot more issues in terms of the bankers and financial institutions asking for a lot more collateral. I don't see developer has any flexibility to reduce the price. I think they are stressed. I don't have any doubt about that. But they are just going through this this bad time in the hope of good times, which obviously will come going after the RERA is stabilized and we see the GST impact also taken away. I clearly see the prices will start moving up.
Okay, so you feel that prices are actually going to move up.
Yeah.
Mr. Sharma, there is high inventory, though it's actually going down because obviously there are no new launches happening, but there is still so much inventory that few reports are suggesting it's going to take about 3 years for developers to actually get rid of that inventory. Don't you think that gives people enough reason to put pressure on you and ask you for a better deal?
Anjali, whatever this report says and whatever you are saying, there is lot of logic, there is lot of common sense in that. RERA, GST, definitely they are the reasons, but the big picture, as you correctly pointed out, there is a stock hang up. In a sense, huge inventory has been built and it is not being completed on time. So the same set of developers today, they are not in a position to launch also new projects when they know that the existing projects also they need to make it RERA compliant, GST compliant. So from my perspective, this is a welcome sign. It's a technical correction, it's a fundamental correction which was long overdue. And as one of your eminent speaker was just talking about, because new launches are not happening and because sales are also equally getting impacted, chances of prices coming down, normal circumstances would have been true, but because already the existing price points, developers, most of them are not making money, so we do not think that they do have any kind of a pricing leverage now to bring down the prices any further. So net what I see is, it's a welcome correction and it is going to benefit the stakeholders, including the customers, in medium to long term.
Okay, so you feel people, if they have to buy, should buy now. What do you think, Pankaj? When people are coming to you and asking for a better price, or they might be a little reluctant, thinking that developers might buckle a little bit more, what do you have to say at that point of time?
Well, frankly, there has never been a better time than today to buy our home, and I'll give you 4-5 points to substantiate that. Firstly, you have also pointed out that the supplies are down, so that means that the supply-demand mismatch which has been there over the last 4-5 years will not be there going forward, and the number of units available for you to choose from will be much lower. So prices, that's an indicator of prices going up. Secondly, mortgage rates, your home loan rates are at 8-year lows. So they reached in double digits, they were 10.5% and then now as much as 8%, and they may be cut further. There is a credit-linked subsidy scheme which has been announced by the government, which gives a subsidy of nearly 2.5 lakh rupees to every first-time home buyer. This is also a historic step and it's a first-time step. Fourthly, there has been a time correction on top of the absolute correction in prices. So if you look at the ratio of the home value, the median home value to median income, it is the most affordable it has been for years. The ratio is about 3 to 4 times any average person's annual income, which used to be 7 or 8 earlier. So it is not really unaffordable. I don't think anybody can say that housing is unaffordable in India. The only problem which was there was that people had lost a lot of confidence, or there was uncertainty on developers' ability to deliver. And that is the fifth and the final and the biggest point, that because of RERA, that ability, that credibility is being restored legally. So if you invest in a project now which is even under construction, you're assured of timely delivery, and if you're not going to get delivery, then you're going to get interest and you're going to be adequately compensated for the delay. So I don't think there has been a better time than today to buy. This is the time to go out. The developers are stressed. Go out, negotiate, identify the house that you want, negotiate a good deal and go for it. You're going to thank yourself and thank your stars 10 years from now.
Okay, that's a good sales pitch. Joe, what do you think? After demonetization, it was almost like a bloodbath. There were no sales happening. We could understand that. Sales have dropped over the year, but there was a slight improvement if you look sequentially. Do you feel that, after demonetization got over with, people sort of came back with got a little flushed with cash, they are coming back into the market, and as Pankaj says here, RERA is actually going to bring that fence sitter into the market? Do you feel so?
I will tend to agree, Anjali. If you look at pre-demonetization and post-demonetization, the general sentiment in the market, and I think everyone has highlighted, the main problem is the general sentiment in the market, in the customer's mind. If you look at what drives sales, it's a function of demand, which is driven by how the economy is doing, how people are earning more or getting jobs, which is on a positive trend. Commercial absorption has never been as high as it is right now. In the first half of the year, we've had absorption of close to 19 million square feet of offices, which is all new jobs getting created. So economy is very, very robust. That should translate to more demand, but we're not actually seeing that on the ground, and that's primarily because one, demonetization had an impact, and then there is a sentiment issue. There is an issue in the customer's mind that he or she is not getting what the developer is promising. So there's that trust deficiency, and on top of that, because of demonetization, there was a perception that maybe the prices would come down. Now, I think they've waited 6-7 months, and they're seeing that is not happening, and like Ankur also mentioned, the chances of that to happen are quite low. I mean, we'll actually see developers move out of this industry if they have to go any lower, considering the price points they are at right now, considering the price points of raw material and labor. So prices are not looking like they're going to come down. So now we tackle the trust deficiency. With RERA, I think that trust is going to get built back again, and there's another point. With RERA, a lot of supply would actually start getting restricted. You will not have too many pre-launches happening in the market. So with all this put in place, I actually think that this is actually a good time to buy. The prices will start going up. It may not go up at the rate they went out in early 2000s, but I think that is also good for the industry.
So that thing is there, that everybody believes that this is the time to buy. We all feel maybe different factors, but it is the right time to buy. I want to bring you in here, Mr. Sharma. As Joe rightly pointed out, office and residential, there's a stark difference, and we always believe if there are more jobs, people become enabled to buy. In fact, in my show, you have only said that if you enable a person to buy, then he will buy more. So why is that not happening? Why is the buyer not going ahead and buying when he has the job and he has the money?
I think situation is not that bad as it looks like from the outside. We have just come out with our last quarter operational performance. In fact, we have done significantly better, 20% up vis-a-vis the last year same quarter. We sold 623 crore worth of new stocks, and we have done what shall I say, 815,000 square feet of sellable area in the last quarter alone. So per an affordable housing to the high price products in Gurgaon and Cochin also is being sold. So buyers are indeed taking a call. They are taking a call from, I repeat, credible developers, and RERA is helping them to choose right set of developers. So when you have 100,000 and odd developers today, and most of them they have not been performing and taking the buyers for a right royal ride, the time had come in last 2-3 years, the way we see that the guys who have not performed, they are being pushed out, and whatever we are seeing, that is what I am trying to say, the technical correction is visible by way of new launches getting restricted, by way of the overall sales numbers, because that investment demand or those kind of sales, it is almost stopped. So the genuine demand has started going up, is my view, And going forward, post RERA, post GST, this process only will get accelerated due to the macro environment becoming otherwise significantly better.
Okay. So, Ankur, would we then say that it is actually the consolidation of the market? The sales will probably not show the kind of rise we used to see earlier, and now it will be like maybe when they do start rising, it will be a very marginal rise because only the end user would be buying. Do you believe so?
See, that's what I want to say, that don't read too much in the 11% down numbers.
Okay.
The reason being, if you look at the earlier time when we had seen the sales going crazy,
yes.
We had a lot of pre-launches, and typically what we have seen, whenever a new pre-launch comes, there are a lot of investor interest who will think that, okay, if I give a check today, I might get an appreciation quickly. Given that the pre-launches are not happening and the launches, as you mentioned, are 40% down, they are supposed to be a reduction in the sales. Even going forward, I will not too much worry about the sales number, given that if it is happening with the credible developer, as mentioned by Mr. Sharma. See, if after RERA, there will be obviously a shrinking of the developer segment. A lot of developers will not be able to afford to build at the cost, at the prices, and in the environment of compliance which we will see RERA. So we will obviously see some developers going down, and we will also have some supply shrinking. In that case, sales cannot pick up. Sales will happen as per the process. And also, as you mentioned, a lot of in demand right now we see is end user. End user takes time. He wants to look at the product, feel the product, and he takes his sweet time to decide. Given that the rates have come down, I think these guys who are at the fence right now, given RERA, they will be jumping in very soon and they will start buying. So I'm not too worried about the absolute number which we are right now looking at, because the launches are going to be less even in going forward in next 6 months. But festival season is nearly around the corner. I think we should be able to see that a lot of customers who really want to buy home will come and jump.
Okay. Pankaj, what do you feel? Since 2008, I think, because personally my habits have also changed, I would believe a lot of buyers have changed how they research and make their decision to buy. Now we have the sales numbers and the launch numbers. Do you think the buyer should not, as Ankur is saying, go too much on that and make a decision with his own set of values and think about it in a long term and not just believe the numbers and statistics?
Absolutely. I wouldn't worry too much about the so-called inventory overhang of 5 years or 4 years. That's simply a mathematical calculation of the inventory available divided by the average monthly sales. Now, average monthly sales are low because of a number of extraneous reasons, the shocks that the industry has received in the last 12 months. That number will change very quickly, and you will see inventory will evaporate. And I've usually been very conservative about the growth of the industry and the sales numbers. I'll stick my neck out today and say that inventory will not be available very soon, and you would find that the supplier would react with a lag. There would not be too many launches, and one would be scurrying to get a good deal. So this is the time, the next 12 months or next 24 months, and that's a long period. But for me, in the real estate perspective, it's not a long period. One should go ahead and lock in today's prices. 10 years from now, you would be saying that, what was I thinking? I had a home loan available at 7.5–8%. I had the government subsidizing me 2.5 lakh rupees. I had the developer on the mat. He was willing to give me everything and the parking free, and he was going to bear the cost of the wardrobes and the stamp duties and all the freebies. And why did I not buy? So this is the time to go ahead and buy. Historically, the last time something like this happened was in 2002 or 2003, and we all know what happened after that.
Okay,
and
so
that was after the crash of 96.
Yes.
This is the time that so this is the time. I think it's going to all turn around in the next 2-3 years. This is the time to go ahead and lock in your property purchase.
Okay, so you feel don't look at the real estate math, do your own math, look at the factors you have around you and make your decision. But Joe, when the buyer goes into the market, he needs sentiment, as you said, more than the math. And right now, if my buyer is watching, which kind of buyer do you think this environment is favoring the most? Is it the buyer who's under 75 lakhs, 50 lakhs? What kind of buyer do you think he will benefit the most right now?
So there is quite a bit of supply under the 75 lakh category, and the sales velocity over there, as you also mentioned, are reasonably more healthy than in the higher segment. So if you're talking about where he can get an advantage, so anything above a crore plus, where the sales velocities are much lower, and that depends on city to city. In Mumbai, it's definitely much more higher. Those are segments where the developer does have a little more margin and might be a little more open to giving a lot of the freebies that Pankaj sir was talking about, and giving him an advantage to buy right now. On the lower segments, the advantage is not that significantly higher. So I would say that it's in the higher segments that there would be that advantage.
Okay, so Mr. Sharma, you agree with that? That maybe right now the people who want to buy that bigger house, that bigger unit with a bigger ticket size, it's a better time for them because they can probably twist your arm a little bit more?
It's not that way that true. See, again, I can only talk about our own products. And I know that my realization, which was less than 6,000 same quarter last year, now it has gone to 7,000, 6,900 and odd. And this has happened not because we have increased the prices. This has happened because besides the Dreammakers Affordable Home Series, our other high-priced products like Indraprastha, like Palladian or Grandeur or Marina, or Shobha City or International City in Delhi, they have started picking up the numbers. So what I would communicate in simple terms, since now investors are no more there, what we are seeing is actual buyers. Actual buyers are there in almost all products. The first time buyers and the newcomers, definitely they are looking for affordable homes, because they get the maximum benefits, and the income tax benefits also, and the incentives also. If you add together, they stand to gain. So going forward, the affordable homes will definitely get a lot of what you call volume growth at the cost of the premium products. At the same time, the overall market of the premium product also will keep expanding, but maybe the growth rate will be little bit less than what you will see in the affordable segments. And we are positive about both the segments.
Okay, so you're positive about all segments. You feel that it's a good time to buy in all segments. Pankaj, very quickly, I would like an input from you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is across the board. It's the factor that I've outlined, they hold true for all the segments. Whether it is affordable category or mid-income or high income, I think it's a good time to go and negotiate. It's to me, it's a no-brainer. I keep repeating the same thing. I just don't see any downside here at all. The only risk which was there earlier, which was of non-delivery or of delay, has been covered by RERA. So I think it's a great time all in all. Infrastructure is getting upgraded in all the cities. The civic infrastructure, the local municipal authorities are pulling up their socks. So I think it's a great time ahead for urban India and for house seekers.
And Ankur, which segment do you feel is going to benefit the most with this current situation?
See, as mentioned by all the panelists, I think all the segments will benefit, but obviously we see that right now there is a lot of demand as well as a lot of supply coming for affordable housing.
Yes.
The government is also focusing primarily on this segment, and they have talked to developers to launch in participation some of the affordable housing homes. So obviously, if affordable housing segment is going to be one of the major segment going forward, if you start analyzing data going forward, I think you'll see that 71% number of launches might become a larger number.
Yes.
As well as we see the sales also going in this segment. So as a investment, as a brokerage firm, we obviously push for the affordable housing, and we want to sell a lot more affordable housing. And given that, obviously there is a demand for luxury housing, it will take time. It takes a lot more negotiation with the developers before we come on the price. So that demand, obviously, as a percent of total demand, will be less.
There are definitely more initiatives being taken in the affordable segment to enable people. That definitely we are seeing. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining in this debate and sharing your thoughts. Well, it is difficult to make a blanket statement about home buying for the whole country, as each city has its own dynamics. But if you need a home, then why wait? Home loan rates are low. There is more than enough homes to buy in the market, and developers want to offload their stock pile. So go ahead and drive a hard bargain. That's all we have for you today in the Realty Debate. Goodbye.